Good morning.
Yep. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. Halfway through the week. You guys survived
Hey, what's up?
post 4th of July week. Hopefully you guys are
Yep.
recovered and
Good
good
morning.
now.
Oh, one of my favorite people, Jenny Garcia. What's up? We got
Woo!
our students, Janice,
A girl.
Yana. Yana. I'm actually here out in California, going to Marshall Silver's events.
Love it. Hey girl.
I'm out here in the West Coast. I got up extra early for you guys today.
We're so lucky.
That almost sounded sincere.
No,
I'm messing with
he could have rescheduled it. He could have rescheduled this webinar, but he didn't. Thank goodness, because I'm really excited for this one. It's gonna be good.
Absolutely.
Welcome, guys. We're gonna get started in one more minute. I'm actually gonna do something a little different today. We're gonna do announcements at the end today. So we will have a raffle. Somebody in here will win a membership, but at the end.
We're always paying people to listen to us. Jeez.
I know, it's just gotta keep them on their toes, Nish.
Got to put in chat if you did something fun or what'd you do on July 4th? That was fun. Besides eat hot dogs, hamburgers, fireworks, and what do you guys have done? Kind of curious. Maybe you guys just relaxed,
I went swimming with
did nothing.
dolphins in the wild.
Wow, look at that.
In the wild, though. No, there's just a ton of dolphins here. So whenever we see them, we start like jumping in the water like psychos, but it's fun.
Just make
YOLO.
sure that, yeah, just make sure they're not sharks.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. Good one. Good one. Oh, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
we need our Alexa. Otherwise, nothing works at BPM REIA.
Oh, that was too funny. You actually got me with that one. Oh man, you guys. Well, let's do this thing, Nish. I'm gonna stop sharing because we're gonna do announcements at the end today. So just keep an eye on the chat if you can. Like honestly, don't even stress it because today's webinar is gonna be so good. It's gonna be more of like a podcast style fireside chat. So just to say, you know, who I am in case anyone's new here, but welcome and happy to have you if you are new on the webinar today. My name's Alexa, COO at BPM REIA, and we have our CEO, Anish Dave, as well as one of our fantastic and lovely members, Violet Perez. She's the owner of True Buy Properties, and she's a member, a mentoring student, a real estate investor, and so much more. So that's why we had to bring her in because she has a lot of experience in life, in real estate investing, and a lot of
Yes.
things. So we need to bring her in and just tell us what's going on there because if Violet can do it, guys, I feel like all of us can do it. She's gonna spread some wisdom and some light today, and I'm here for it. I know that I've been saying this, but it's halfway through the year, and sometimes we need somebody to turn our mindset around real quick, give us a slap of reality, and put us back on track because it's tough out here. And again, halfway through the year, we might feel burnt out. So I feel like there's like no better time than now to have Violet in. And I'm just gonna go ahead and hand it over to Anish because
Yep.
he knows Violet
Thank you.
longer than me. So I'll be here
Yep.
in the
So
background.
there's a couple of things I want to say. First of all, if I would have said Violet had a lot of like real estate experience, she would have got mad at me and said, you our Gen Z. I'm just messing. So my name is Anish Dave, CEO BPM REIA. Hopefully you guys have been following us. If there's any newbies, put in the chat if this is your first webinar. And a little background a bit about me. I've been a real estate investor for 25 plus years. We were formerly known as BREIA. I've been through the ups and downs of 2008, made a lot of money, got wiped out, and how to rebuild myself. And what we're doing today is so Violet is, I'm going to start. First of all, she's one of my friends. I'm going to start with that. And we just, I
Yes.
mean, I don't know what's going on with her, but we got on and she looks so elegant and chic. And she's also one of my neighbors down in Fort Lauderdale. So I was like, I don't know what's going on with you, but man, you look good on this end of it. And
Thank you.
what I really like about
Thank you.
Violet is her story is unbelievably inspiring, and what she has done and what she's doing is really taking life by the balls. Let me kind of just say it that way, and living her best life. So, Violet, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for a little bit, and then we'll get started. We'll just have some chats.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Violet Perez. I have been involved in real estate investing since 2018, but I've had many roles and many careers over the years. And, as was mentioned, when you get to my stage of life, you have a lot of um, things that have happened in your life that can steer you off track. But, I think at the end of the day, you land up getting back on track by not giving up and getting back involved. And for me, I mean, I started a career back in the late 70s. It was with a Fortune 100 company that was a leader in power generation, male dominated industry. So here I was, this little 22-year-old girl right out of university, joining all these experienced guys, and was the only female professional in one of the divisions of 500 people. So it was a real experience. But I stayed with them for 15 years. And throughout the years, I was getting promoted through the ranks, which was great. But I also, got married, had a child, and my ex-husband started taking off with his career. And we landed up going to Latin America. Those were the assignments he had. And it was great. It was a wonderful opportunity for us as a family. And, my main role as a wife and a mother was to get everybody settled and happy and content in their new home. But the one thing that was so super important for me as an individual was, what am I going to do to stay happy and fulfilled and feel like I'm making a contribution outside of, the mother and wife role? So, just like anything else, when you're starting in a new situation, you have to get involved. Getting involved with your community, find ways where you can contribute. And that whole situation led me into getting invited on not-for-profit boards. And that experience was phenomenal because I got to meet some of the most interesting and influential people in Mexico and in the United States. Like, I got to meet the U.S. ambassador to Mexico. Some of my fellow board members was the head of Coca-Cola Latin America, GM Latin America, the CFO of Televisa. So these guys are just really smart, but they're also extremely generous in the kind of knowledge that they shared with all of us, the experiences they shared with all of us. It was like attending an MBA class, really. So for me, this whole experience was beyond my expectations and really drove me into a whole different direction, so that when I started moving back to the States, because we actually made 10 moves in the first 34 years we were married. And every time I had to reinvent myself. And that's what you do. I mean, you have these disruptors that occur in your life. And I mean, Anish, you better than anybody knows that in 2008, things just went completely sideways. And you had the opportunity to reinvent yourself. And so it was a wonderful opportunity. I enjoyed it. I was doing professional fundraising for not-for-profits. And then there came a time where I was so sick of moving. We were all sick of moving. And we just said, hey, we're going to try to find a home base and make this our forever place. So that's how I landed up in South Florida. And again, the question came up in my head. So, what am I going to do? I mean, this is like another opportunity for me to figure out what's next for Violet. And so my son called me and he says, I heard this really interesting podcast on Bigger Pockets. And there was this guy on there, and he was just, his life was just falling apart. It was unraveling. He was getting divorced. He had all kinds of financial issues that he was struggling with. And he landed up getting involved in real estate investing, and specifically this thing called wholesaling. So, I didn't know what that was. And I said, well, let's get him on the phone. Let's talk to him. So we called him, we spoke to him, we flew out to Dallas to meet with him. And he was starting a little mentoring program, and he invited me to be a part of that. And, it was good in the sense that I got the basics. It was, understanding how to look at comparables, understanding how to calculate an ARV. But, the missing pieces of all of that were, how do I apply this to the area of the country that I live in? How do I get all the tools in place that I need to really launch this business? And that was the thing that was really lacking. So I landed up seeing this Facebook post about a meeting at the Miami Shores Country Club. And that's where I met Anish. And I was just so blown away by the presentation you guys put on. I mean, honestly, it was like I turned to my ex-husband and I said, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what's going to really help me get this business launched and really understand the business. And, there were people that were at this meeting that came and are still with your program that are investor friendly, title companies, attorneys, tax advisors, and they're still with you. I mean, this was 7 years ago. So it's really a community of people. And what BPM REIA provided me was all of the necessary tools and support systems to be successful and really understand the business. And having that one-on-one mentorship um, is invaluable. I mean, you're my mentor, Anish, and I know we're friends, but I'll still pick up the phone, as you know, and I'll say, hey, I'm stuck on something. What
Yeah.
do you think I should be doing here? I mean, this is what I think I should do, but do you think that's the right thing? So for me, it was just an incredible opportunity. I started the business at 61. I'm now 68. And for me, this has been just such a blessing because I knew for a fact I wasn't going to get back into a 9 to 5 job. That just wasn't anything that interested me at all. I still travel. I still have flexibility. I have a beautiful 18-month-old grandchild. I get to fly to Chicago and see her. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity, not just for young people, but I look at myself as someone who is a baby boomer, and we're probably one of the largest segments in the population. And, we're either retired or on the verge of retiring. And people are living longer these days. So they may not be happy in the 9 to 5. Uh, so what a great opportunity for them to get involved in a business like this. I mean, real estate is going to be around forever. And so, it's going to be something that you can apply to your personal life. It can be something that you can generate income from as a business. And for me, it has just been a win-win situation all around. So I'm happy I get the chance to share that story with you all. But I'm really excited, Anish, that I got to meet you, that I got to be a part of the program because it's really truly a family. I mean, I feel like I can pick up the phone and call some of the other investors that I've met through the program and just ask them questions as well about, what their experience has been. And when we get together for meetings, obviously that's a wonderful opportunity for us as a community to share. So I'm extremely happy and blessed that I've been a part of this community.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of things I want to kind of touch on, right? So, there's a lot of investors, and obviously you've been traveling a ton and trying to find your niche on what reinventing yourself. You said that obviously your son's awesome. Obviously, I met your son,
Mhm.
your ex-husband, and so was your family supportive on your new endeavor? Meaning, there's a lot of people even my dad, you met my dad before, back when I first started and I left corporate America, my
Mhm.
dad and mom were not very supportive. They said, work 9 to 5. That's all they knew. They weren't entrepreneurs. So did you get
Exactly.
that? Did you get, I mean, obviously Goya, your son, read that post. First of all, I'm happy our Facebook post actually worked. And the
Yeah.
sec and then second end of it is, was your ex-husband, was he also supportive at the same time, or any of the other people in your group is what I want to start with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my family is very traditional, like yours is, Anish. I mean, they are, you go to work, you work for an employer, you bring home a paycheck, and you do the best for your family, you educate your kids, and that's life. And so they didn't really understand it. I mean, for them, this is like a whole foreign concept. My son, obviously, he loves thinking out of the box. For him, this was just like, hey, mom, this looks like a great thing for you to get involved with. And he also started getting involved with, but he has a very demanding job now. But my ex-husband was actually very supportive. And I think because he understood the transitions that I had to make throughout our marriage in terms of relocating cities, relocating countries, becoming proficient in Spanish. I mean, I think the first time that he and I had hosted a dinner at our house, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks after we moved to Mexico City. And I just started like speaking fluent Spanish, and he just about fell out of his chair. He just could not believe it. But I mean, these were the things I was determined to do to really feel like I was leading a meaningful life. I didn't want to be sitting on the sidelines and saying, "Oh, what do I do?" I just really was determined to do something that was important to me and made me feel like I had a purpose. And I think all of us as human beings want that. I mean, when you look at these people who live in the blue zones that live to be over 100 years old, it's not only surrounding themselves with a very supportive community and family, which is what BPM REIA is, it's also, um, finding a purpose in life. And that to me was just like the most important thing anytime we made a move. And, there were struggles where I was trying to figure it out, or I'd run into a roadblock about something that wasn't going to work out. But I just put myself back out there. I thought, there's no other way to do this but putting yourself back out there until you find the right fit. And, for me, this is just an incredible opportunity that I can do, well into my 70s and 80s if I want to. And people are living longer, so they can do this for long periods of time.
Yeah, and so like one of the things that's really interesting, which I love about your perseverance, is that you started this a little bit later in life. So
Yeah.
for me, even like Jenny Garcia is on this call also. She knows I was like negative non-tech in my 30s is an understatement. Was yeah, like I couldn't open up an Excel sheet, or like I had trouble, like I'm not even kidding, like to attach like emails or all this crazy stuff. So what challenges were you facing starting a little bit
Yeah.
older in a career? Were you worried about like the tech side, or were you always tech savvy, or what would you tell people that are,
Well, I think the tech side is challenging for sure when you're,
yeah,
a baby boomer, but it's a necessary tool if you're going to have to succeed. And like, for example, REI Black Book is something I've used from day one. And, just understanding that system and how it works and how it can really make your life a lot easier. I'm a solopreneur. I don't have a spouse that's working with me or a partner that's working with me. It's me. And then, of course, all the people that I know who, can step in and help from time to time. But it's so important to try to get over those, I don't know if you call them fears or uncertainties about things that are ultimately going to really help you. And you have to sort of jump in with both feet and do your best to try to pick up on things like technology that are going to be, really important in making your life easier as an investor. And the other thing, I mean, that was kind of I'll never forget the first time I went out and did door knocking. Oh my gosh, I was terrified. I mean, I thought my heart was going to be, coming out of my throat. I was just so scared. And, you just get in there and you rinse and repeat and you do it and you do it and you do it. And just like anything else in life, what is it, the 10,000 rule where you do things? I haven't done 10,000 doors, but you do get better at it. You do find a rhythm, but most importantly, you go in with a very specific mindset. And that is that I'm here to help somebody. I'm here to help somebody resolve an issue that they're struggling with. And so, but it is, I mean, you have to just kind of jump in with both feet, even if it's something that you're a little uncertain about. And like I said, I mean, the first time I went door knocking, I was just about, you know,
Me
ready
too.
to turn around and walk away and say, I can't do this. But, generally, I will say that there have been very few people that have been so angry where they, threw me off their porch. But people are usually understanding, um, kind, scared. Um, they might say, "Hey, I'm okay. I'm getting help from an attorney or somebody else." But I have found that people in general have been really, really kind. There have been very few instances where I
Agreed.
feel like people have just been violent or upset or anything like that whatsoever. So you have to
Yeah,
get over your fear. And the only way to do it is to just do it. You have to just get in there and do it.
agreed. I think I told you my first door knocking scenario. I did stuff that as an adult that I've never done. What I mean was I knocked on the door. I didn't introduce myself at all, which is kind of weird when you meet someone new, right? I didn't tell them why I was there. And I spoke, I'm already from Jersey. I speak pretty fast sometimes. I sound like an auctioneer. Like I threw it all out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I took a breath.
Yeah.
And they just looked at me. I turned around and I walked right back to the car in a full sweat.
Oh no, it it's just a really daunting, thing that you have to get over. And the only way you do it is just keep doing it and figuring it out, and it's going to be fine. You're just going to be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to one house I remember where I knocked on the door and this like 6'4" guy that spoke nothing but Creole answered the door, and I could hear this woman in the back of the house like screaming in Creole, and I thought, what am I walking into here?
Yeah.
And he's waving me on like, come in, come in, come in. So I walked into the house and I could still hear her like yelling in Creole in the back of the house, and he's telling her something, and he's telling me to come into the house, like further into the house. And I'm thinking, what is this, Pulp Fiction? What am I walking into here? So I walked in, I go all the way to the back of the house, and I go into one of the bedrooms where this sweet little lady is sitting in her wheelchair, and she goes, "Oh, hello, darling." And she spoke perfect English. And just to kind of jump forward in the story, it was a very interesting scenario where she had a reverse mortgage. Her children lived out of town. They had no idea what was going on. She had like these two men living in her house with her. I don't know who they were. One was some other like distant relative from Haiti. But the bottom line is that, she was in a pre-foreclosure situation. And apparently one of these guys was taking all her mail and emptying her bank accounts. It was a really tough situation. And I landed up signing an agreement with her. And she said, "Oh, I'm going to move with my daughter." But well, a lot of this was her desire, but not her real intention. So I spoke to her daughter, who spoke to her granddaughter, and they were furious with me. They thought I was taking advantage of her. They thought that this was like, elder abuse. And I said, no. I said, I will tear up that agreement right now. I said, but you have to come down here and see the circumstances that your grandmother's living in. I'm concerned for her safety. And so um, they came down, and sure enough, they found that This fellow was emptying out her bank account slowly but surely. This was August. The air conditioning was not on in the house, not working. She had very little food in the refrigerator. She was a diabetic. It was just a really tough situation. They basically, she got power, the granddaughter got power of attorney, swooped in, pulled her grandmother out. They already had a place where they were going to put her in an assisted living up in Georgia. And that deal was an incredible deal. That was the first time that I closed a six-figure deal. It was, but at the same time, the family, I can't tell you how many times they thanked me for saving their grandmother because
Yeah.
she was not going to make it for another, she would probably not have made it in 6 months. I mean, she
Yeah.
was in such terrible condition. And I think anytime I have doubts and I'm getting ready to knock on somebody's door, I say to myself, this could be another potential situation where I'm helping somebody that really needs help and doesn't know how to do it. They don't know how to get through this situation. Um,
Yeah. I mean, that's what people don't realize, right? They always just see the money on what we do. It's really about changing lives.
mhm.
All the deals, I mean, a lot of times, same thing. The families hug you. Or if they're younger couples,
Absolutely.
I've had calls, they rebuilt their life
Yeah.
and we got them out of that also. I mean, and again, that was a wholesale deal, right? So you didn't actually, do you remember what you bought it for and what you sold it for on that one? I know it was a six-figure profit, but
Um, I would
just
just
to give you an
say,
idea, it's less than 200,000, right? It was less.
yeah, I think that the net that was made out of that was 125.
Yeah. And you bought it, I think it was like under 200 that what you bought it for, right? It was like
I think
150.
it was, no, I think it was like in the 280 range.
Okay.
And the agreement with the reverse mortgage people was like in the 140 range, something like that, or 150 range. I can't
Yeah. Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. So guys, but I want you to know, like we bought the house, or Violet bought the house around 150, reverse mortgage, didn't fix it, helped out the family, basically saved the grandmother. And that was all by door knocking. So the question I always get, right, especially being a female, like, aren't you scared? I know you were kind of talking about that. Like, what are some best
Yes.
practices that you would say for specifically women door
Uh-huh.
knocking?
Well, I would say if you want to have somebody with you, that's certainly a good way to get your start, to really start the process and get into your comfort zone. Um, I think that you can pick up on whether or not something doesn't feel right. I honestly didn't, I almost turned around and walked away because I was so intimidated by this guy that answered the door. I thought, what? And this woman, she was screaming in Creole in the back of the house. I thought, what is going on here? It's crazy. But um, at the end of the day, I think you have to just use your intuition as to whether something doesn't feel right, especially when I get invited into somebody's home, that's when I have to feel like this is a situation that I'm going to be comfortable with. I usually leave the door open. I don't like to close the door behind me unless it's, summertime and then you have to. But I would just say use your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, then you have to just say, maybe this isn't the right time for me. I can come back later, or it may not be the right time for you. And but I have never run across that situation. I'm going to be very honest with you. And before I step into somebody's house, I would say spend a lot of time talking to them, because you want to get a feel for what the circumstance is that they're dealing with, what their motivation could be. So spend some time before you walk into somebody's home, just kind of finding out where they are and how ready they are to move forward on doing anything, because that's the biggest thing that you can do while you're doing door knocking or cold calling people on the phone, is really allowing them to speak. Because the tendency is to at first, I found myself kind of like, giving them a spiel. And that's not what you want to do. You want to be relaxed. You want to be conversational with somebody and let them open up and sort of talk about what the issues are that they're dealing with and what their motivation can be. I mean, is it they want to hang on to the property? And then, I've done plenty of loan modifications where I sat down with people and have helped them fill that out and submit it. Um, and, or they may be ready. In this case, this
Yeah,
little lady was ready, but guess what? Her family knew nothing about it. It was all, something that she had made up in her own mind, but the family was completely unaware of it. So I basically started all over and invited them to come down. And I said, you really need to see what's going on here. So,
absolutely.
but I just say use your intuition, but spend some time talking to the people and make it a friendly conversation. I mean, when I go door knocking, people do answer the door. I mean, they look at me and they're like, who's this little blonde lady? I mean, what could she possibly want? And they do open the door, and I talk to them just like I'm speaking with you, and it's a very give and take conversation. So I just say get to know who you're speaking with, and then use your intuition as you
Absolutely.
think.
Yeah, the other question also is, first of all, I do want to clarify, the houses you're door knocking are not war zones, right? Like I want to make sure everyone knows that she's not going in the hardcore part of the hood where it can be dangerous. So
Yes.
there is, and you're not going at 9 o'clock at night, right?
Oh
So you
no.
want to talk, yeah, you want to talk about like what times or of days or that you go door knocking.
Yeah, I kind of mix it up. I do it during the week. And then occasionally I do it on the weekend. On Saturdays can be good. Sundays in the afternoon, because a lot of people will go to church or synagogue. Oh, no, not synagogue, but church. And so I kind of mix it up. I don't pick specific days, but what I do is I have regular activities that are related to the business. It could be an hour a day, it could be 5 hours a day. It really just depends. But I think the key is to keep that consistency and have your goals in terms of what you're trying to accomplish each week, each month, that are all tied into your yearly goals, and stay consistent. Because I mean, I was in a situation last year where I was in the midst of getting divorced after 38 years, and it was pulling me away from some of my day-to-day activities. It was tough for me to stay focused every single day because there were so many other things going on. But and the funny thing is that I had been speaking to this family for about 2 years. I even made an offer on the property. I thought it was pretty much just a matter of the wife finally saying, yeah, we need to do this because the bank was really getting ready to foreclose. So I got pulled away and kind of left it go for a couple of weeks. And I ended up calling the family, and their daughter answered. And she said, oh, yeah, well, we just signed an agreement with somebody else. And I went, well, I've been talking to your parents for about 2 years. Tell me what happened. And one of the big competitors out here had one of his guys come in there, and they landed up selling it at the same price that I offered them. So it was like you sit there and you say, okay, this is a lesson learned. Just like anything else in life that doesn't necessarily, go your way. And you say, hey, I just have to learn to be consistent in my business, whether it's generating leads, whether it's following up with clients, whatever the case may be. But learning, expanding your mind to new concepts, new technologies, whatever it may be. But you have to stay consistent. And that doesn't mean you can't travel. It doesn't mean you can't, go visit family and friends. And, I went to Africa, I went to Alaska in the last 6 months. So, I mean, there's opportunities for you to live your life, but you have to stay consistent in what you do in the business that ties into your goals.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you guys have questions, for Violet, you could just throw them in the Q&A also. So the question I wanted to ask you is, we're talking about door knocking.
Yeah.
Out of all the marketing channels, from mailers, cold calling, door knocking, YouTube door knocking, like why pick that one versus any of the other channels?
I think it's just my personal style, to be honest with you. I mean, the first time, this was before I joined BPM REIA. The first time I made an attempt at generating leads, this was a suggestion that came from this fellow that I started talking to in Dallas. I did a 10,000 mailer mail drop and it hit Miami-Dade as well as Broward counties. So 2 days after the mail was delivered, my phone was ringing off the hook from 9 in the morning until almost 8 at night when I finally had to turn the phone off. It was insane. It was like drinking from a fire hose, and probably 95% of those phone calls were tire kickers. They just wanted to know what I was going to pay for the house. So I did get some leads out of that,
Wow.
but because I didn't have sort of that good toolbox that you all provide as part of the learning process, it was hard for me to get things moving in the direction I needed them to. But I'm a person who enjoys speaking to people on a one-on-one basis and face to face. I have a very relaxed style with people. I'm not a hardcore press them about selling the property. It's a conversation and an opportunity for me to develop, a relationship of trust.
Yep.
And that to me is, for me, the most effective tool. I've done cold calling too. I also used VAs to screen calls and call people. Um, but for me, I think the most successful and the biggest deals that I've been able to close have been through door knocking. This last deal that you're aware of was not a door knocking situation, but I actually had a deal that I closed in North Miami Beach back in 2020. And there was a little guy across the street who was a neighbor who knew the fellow that owned the house. And he was kind of my eyes and ears because there were tenants in there that refused to leave. So I was going through an eviction process as well. So he was telling me, when their comings, their goings, are they moving out? Are they not moving out? Um, and, I gave him a little fee at the end of the closing. And I just said, hey, if there are other properties that you know of in the neighborhood who, if there are owners or who are looking to sell, then, let me know and let's get in touch with them. I will get you a referral fee as well. So that's how I came up with this last deal in North Miami Beach. It was literally on the same street. And he called me and he said, this family is coming here to clean out the house. It belonged to their brother. He passed away. The house was a hoarder house. It was just loaded with tons and tons of things that had been collected over the years. The house was in poor condition. And I could see these two people who are my age, struggling to empty out the house. And I immediately drove down there and I introduced myself and talked to them. And over a couple days, after having a chance to really understand what their motivation was. They didn't want to keep the house. I knew that for a fact. I told them to stop cleaning out the house, to just take whatever it is that they needed and wanted from the property and leave the rest up to me. So that was another motivating factor. And I got them connected to a probate attorney. And the bottom line, it turned out to be a very profitable deal. But, that's another very effective way to be able to generate leads. And that is, when I go door knocking, if someone's not home and I see a neighbor outside, I will talk to them and I will introduce myself. I'll ask them about the neighborhood. I'll talk to them about, what's going on in the neighborhood. I usually leave them a card. Those are like opportunities when you're out there in these neighborhoods to be able to find other means of generating leads and get people in the neighborhood to know who you are.
absolutely. And so on that deal in North Miami, I think he bought it for 170. Was that what it was? What did you wind up buying it
Yeah,
for? I think 170
yeah,
or
yeah,
180.
yeah.
And
I
that's
offered them 180,
and,
but with,
and
yeah, yeah. It was a big house. It was a big house, but
yeah, a 3-2. Yeah,
it was a
horrible
3-2,
condition.
3 bedroom, 2 bath, horrible condition. Had $88,000 um,
Violations.
liens, yeah, and code violations, which I negotiated down to, $5,000. And yeah, I mean, and the really interesting thing about this business that I love is that every deal is different, and I land up learning something new with every deal. I mean, whether
Me
it's a
too.
shorts, I mean, it's like something new always comes up, and and it's a wonderful way to just continue gaining knowledge and experience. And so,
Yeah, and so for you guys, some of you guys aren't local, to find a house in North Miami Beach, a 3-2 for $180,000 is pretty much unheard of. We did wholesale it, and it was about $155,000 in net profit. But the
mhm.
key is that like what Violet did was, and I know you for a long time, is I could see you talking to the neighbors, doing this, and basically creating your own bird dogs to go
Mhm.
out there to sell for you. And go ahead and put in the chat how many people like, because I just like your style. You have a really soothing, like being a little bit older on that stuff, a really
Yeah.
trustworthy, soothing style. And so the key is, everyone's got different assets, right? That you're good at. No matter, what works
Mhm.
for Violet would not work for me, right? Some of the other things that I've done also, I speak Spanish. So they think it's kind of funny when the Indian guy speaks Spanish, right? I pull up to a
Yeah.
Latin house and they're like, oh, that's, again, it's about trust. And if they're really
Yes.
motivated, it never has anything to do with pricing. It really doesn't. And it becomes a win-win where I've gotten deals where there are other investors that offered more money and they just felt more comfortable. So I
Yeah.
think that's always important. What might work for Violet, for me, it might be different for everybody on that
Yeah.
end. And so you want to make sure you use your assets all the way through. I'm going to go back to that mailing list because that's pretty cool. At least you got all those calls. Did you list stack it? Meaning, was it probates, pre foreclosures? What was that? Do you remember what that
It was
mailing
it
campaign?
was a mix of all kinds of different things. There were probates, there were pre-foreclosures. Um, this particular company that I was dealing with had different ways of pulling data, and so it was just a combination of all kinds of different things. But there were so many overwhelming calls of people just wanting to know how much I was going to buy their property for, like right on the spot. They wanted to know. That's all they needed to know. Um, and offering them the opportunity for us to
Yeah,
meet, and you could tell right away that it was just not, something that they had a deep interest in. So if you have a team of people, or if you have VAs that can kind of help you sort through those calls, then I think it could be great. But I didn't have that at the time.
yeah.
And it just became overwhelming. And I'm
Well,
sure there were probably some good deals buried in there that I just couldn't get to because I was so swamped in phone calls and requests for, people wanting to know how much I would pay for their property. So I think, there's, as
yeah,
you mentioned, there are different ways to approach this business, and you really have to think of it in terms of what is your style, what works for you. Um, are you trying to grow a big business? Are you trying to develop a whole team of people who are going to support you in this? It just really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve. But for me, I love the one-on-one approach. I'm very comfortable there. And I land up finding out all kinds of new things with every deal. I mean, I had the first deal I did, that generated a $56,000 profit, which was, back in those days, 7 years ago, that was pretty good. Um, so, yeah, I mean, and that property had all kinds of other things going on. They had almost $200,000 in code violations that got negotiated down to 4,800. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it just really, it's such an eye-opening experience to see what you have to do to get through to the end game. And but the most important thing is developing the relationship with the homeowner. That's without a doubt
yeah,
the most important thing. And like you said, I mean, you can have people who are going to offer more, but if the homeowner is not comfortable with them, they're going to say, nah, I'm going to
yeah,
deal with a niche on this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's funny, like you have that. I call that a superpower. Our mentors, Harry and Victoria Diamond, they have the same like superpower of trust and listening and making it a win-win. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back to like obviously you got all those phone calls. Am I assuming that you put your cell phone number on the mailers? What was that like? Or did you have a Google Voice number? You had no automation, or what
I,
were you
I,
actually doing on that?
yeah, I had a business number that I had set up with, and I can't remember the company now. I
Yeah,
mean, I have that all set up through REI Black Book now,
yeah,
but prior to that, it was a different company. Um, and I had one person who was trying to field some of the calls, but it just became insanely busy that the two of us just couldn't field these calls fast enough.
yeah,
But REI Black Book does have a feature where, you're able to communicate with people by phone, by text. You set up different workflows so that you don't lose track of things. And, it's that consistent follow through and follow up that's so important because people will say no. And, as the saying goes, no is like halfway to yes. And you want to be able to, you know, just keep staying in contact and letting them know that you're still there and how are they doing and what's been going on and just continuing that relationship. um, and
yeah.
RA Black Book's a
I,
great
you know what,
tool.
you know what's funny is when you, that no comment that you made. I always say when people say no, I always said no for now
Yeah.
in my mind, right? Like they say no, like and just add no for now,
Yeah.
and just being, what you're going to realize is a lot of investors miss out. Oh, they try it once, one touch. Oh, it doesn't work. And
Mm-hmm.
the numbers actually are so guys that if you don't know REI Black Book, Damon Remy, we actually pay for that for our students. It is definitely the number one automation thing out there. Actually, the whole REIA, BPM REIA is built on REI Black Book. So as you're getting emails from us, I feel like I'm giving a trade secret here. Some of them are workflows that we built out. The text messages, all the above is on automation. And Alexa reminded we did over I think 90 events last year. It's just me, her, and now we have three VAs, and we're able to do that because of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I was without a doubt, as I mentioned earlier, not very good on technology. Some of the cool things, and we will have Damon Remy actually speak from REI Black Book. I don't know if you know about some of the new changes. We're adding it to our website where we have chat bots now, some AI chat bots.
Oh.
It's the next level of how you're really going to start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's REI Black Book, and Alexa could actually put a link in there. What I did work out with those guys, you do get a 7-day free trial. Use our link. They're fantastic on that end of it. So I just saw that question pop in. So Yana's got a question for you. How do you start conversations when someone opens the door?
Well, first you introduce yourself, and sometimes if there's something interesting that that's going on in the property, like they have this pretty garden that they've planted, you bring up something that's sort of not necessarily related to why you're there, not right away, but you do get into these conversations with people about who you are. And the approach that I take is that, I've been working with some of your neighbors and other families in the area on working on any kind of solution that you're looking for a mortgage. And we've got years of experience in working in this area. We'd love to be able to find out what your situation is. Can you tell me what your current circumstances are? And let them talk. So it's a very brief introduction that you're there as someone who's been in the area helping other families, and you'd love to hear what their situation is and see if there's an opportunity for us to work together on, coming up with a solution. And just let people talk. Um, I think that's really the key, allowing them the opportunity to just say, oh, a lot of them will say, I don't need any help. And I'll say, oh, well, how did this situation happen? What are you doing to help resolve this? Is there some, I have a lot of resources that I can offer you if that's something that you're interested in, and then give them the space to talk again. So it's really, don't make it a lecture, make it a give and take, but allow them to have the space to talk. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I think that that's always important. The other thing is get a second. Yep. One of the things, my goal was just to get an appointment again because I showed up without announcing myself. So sometimes they have the time, sometimes they might be on the way out. And my goal is to get a
Mhm.
phone number or set up a
Yes.
second appointment. And the same thing as what you said. Some of the things, I'm a big sports fan. So if I see like some of the license plates might say Miami Dolphins,
Yeah.
University of Miami, that kind of stuff. So some sort of background of
Yes.
relatedness makes
Yes.
it easier.
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's something you pick up on, some people like to put flags in their front yards of teams that they follow. I mean, and I'm a big sports fan too. So, it's a nice way to sort of start a conversation once you get through sort of the initial thing. And yeah, I mean, you have to keep it light and friendly and not make it a lecture. It's really about finding out what their needs are at this moment.
Yeah. And the other question we always get is, well, how do you dress? Are you wearing a business power suit? What are you wearing when you door knock?
Well, when I door knock, I wear, usually a nice pair of jeans, nothing that's, my everyday stuff. And, a nice shirt. It could be a blouse or, a nice shirt. Um, it's casual. I don't carry a handbag. I have, one of these like over the shoulder things. And all I have in my hand is my card and my phone. I don't have like a stack of papers or, because people, if you come to the door and you're carrying all these papers or folders or what have you, people are thinking, oh, good, I'm getting served on something else now. So I think, I just come, in a very inconspicuous way, and they open the door. Like I said, they're like, who's this little blonde lady that's showing up at my front door? So they do open. Um, Getting back to the handbag, I did have a handbag stolen. I did something really dumb, but it happened so quickly. I would have never guessed that it was going to go down that way. But I was at a property in Fort Lauderdale that I had under contract, and I was starting to show it, and there were some contractors that were looking at it. And I was talking to these two women who were interested in the property, and I said, "Hey, I've got to run to another thing. Can you just lock the door on your way out?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." And I got in the car and I put my handbag on the passenger seat, and I noticed that I needed to tell them something else. So I went back into the house, didn't lock the car because I was going to be in there for like 30 seconds. And when I came back, my handbag was gone, gone.
Yeah.
I had checkbook, every credit card. I mean, I spent the next 2 hours on the phone canceling credit cards, banks, you name it. It was just so needless to say, go travel light, but travel with what you absolutely need. I always carry with me the FAR bar contracts, a blank one. I have stationery ready to go, and I have a nice brochure that if they're not home, and I write a little handwritten note on there. I attached it to the brochure that really talks about different ways to avoid foreclosure if that's the situation that they're in. And I do get follow-up calls on it. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
happen all the time, but it does happen. And so it's a nice way to show that if you present yourself in a professional manner with good written materials, um, and, follow up with them, then, I think it's great. I think it's great. It helps you really build credibility with
Yeah.
people too, because I mean, there are a lot of people doing this, and so you have to really sort of find ways to separate yourself from the rest and build that credibility and
And
trust.
so my next question is more like on goal setting.
Uh-huh.
So do you like I don't know, do you start at the beginning of the year, say I want to do X amount of deals, or this is how much money I want to make? Do you I don't know, revisit the goal every 3 months? What does that really look like
Yeah.
when you start your reset?
Yeah. Well, I'm usually doing it in December when
Yep.
I'm doing my reset, getting ready for the next year. I look at what I achieved versus, where I thought I was going to be. I look at the um, the monthly objectives that tie into those goals, and then I have daily activities that tie into those as well. It's not a super sophisticated system, but I keep track of it. And
Hmm.
it goes back to what I said before. You have to dedicate consistent time on the business. You can't just like go AWOL for a month and then hope everything's going to be okay. You're kind of starting all over when you do that. But yeah, it's an annual goal setting, which ties into monthly and then daily activities. And every Sunday, I look at what I've achieved during the week, and I make a decision as to whether or not I need to either do something differently or adjust the goals, or come up with other means of achieving those goals. So it's almost a reset on a weekly basis, and then
Yeah.
definitely on a monthly basis.
Okay. Yeah. And one of the things that you actually talked about, like you're obviously traveling to Alaska, you got a granddaughter out, are you also balancing your personal life?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because
So
you were breaking
for
up.
me, I was pretty hardcore business business. How do I make sure about that? So guys, I'm sorry, I'm actually out in California. So my question is, how do you balance your personal life also with your business life? Because before I was only about business, being broke, I had to get out of my own way. And now
Hmm.
instead of saying or, I say and I gotta add this in. So you've been
Yes.
traveling obviously to Alaska and all that stuff. So how do you build that in and still keep your business running?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is part of I call it my Sunday evening review of what I've been doing. And it's not just the business, but it's also, what are my goals personally that I want to do, and how does that fit in? So, and I plan those kinds of trips well in advance, and I know what it's going to take. And, I don't usually take my laptop with me unless I'm going to be gone for more than a week. Um, and I've got, this system in place that allows me to, between REI Black Book and, my goal setting strategies, to stay on top of it. I mean, it's fitting things in, and, you have to live your life. Um, if I wanted to go back to a 9 to 5 job, I could have done that, but I didn't want to, because I'm at the stage of my life where I want to have that kind of freedom. And I think everybody, what doesn't matter what age you are, you want to have that ability to spend time with your family, to travel, to do other things outside of work. And this business model absolutely gives you that kind of freedom, and that's what made it so attractive. Um, and I think for people who are in this baby boomer generation like me, who are either retired or getting ready to retire, what a phenomenal business to get involved in. Because I think, it serves you in so many ways, not only as a business, but, personally, understanding the market, understanding how to evaluate property. I mean, there's just so many benefits to being part of this group and part of this community, because real estate's here to stay. I mean, it's gonna keep going.
Yep.
So what a wonderful business to get involved in.
Yeah. And so I got a question here for you. Someone's asking, how did you learn the cost of repairs? being, obviously new, and you're looking at these houses and they're a
Mhm.
mess. So
Yes.
shoot, I don't know what that costs. I don't know. So how did you learn
Yeah.
that, or what
Well,
what advice would you have for newbies?
yeah. Well, I'd say that one of the things that really got me excited about joining BPM REIA was when I went to the Miami Shores Country Club for the presentation that you all put on. You had Carl there, and Carl is a very experienced contractor, and he is also the guy who works with the mentoring students on going through, what to look for in a property when you're walking through a property to determine the repair costs. And he also has been very good about updating repair costs because things do change. And, now material costs are going to continue to go up, I would imagine, as they always do. And so you have to make those adjustments. But knowing what to look for as you're walking through a property is something that I learned through the program. And, I use that in buying my own personal properties that, both the short-term rentals as well as the long-term rentals. And I made much better decisions about what I was buying based on the training that I received through the mentoring program. And Carl was a big part of that.
Absolutely. So I mean that, because a lot of people always struggle with that. So Janine's asking, are you flipping homes or are you just wholesaling?
Just wholesaling. Yeah,
Are you actually flipping houses or are you just wholesaling?
just wholesaling. Yeah, one of the things that
Absolutely.
somebody had told me a long time ago, and for some people, flipping could be a wonderful business. For me, I look at the holding costs that are involved and the material costs now, finding the right contractor to do the work for you. I I want to keep my life simple at this point. I don't want to have to be necessarily tied. And like I said, this is me. It's not really it could be great for somebody else who wants to dedicate the time to that. But I want to have a lot more flexibility in my schedule. So the wholesaling business model to me is a much more attractive one. I'm in and then I'm out and on to the next. And, from what I'm hearing, I mean, the margins appear to be very close or not, or sometimes even better than if you get into a flipping situation. It really depends. Um, so I'm very happy doing the wholesaling thing. And I remember a long time ago, another investor had said to me, don't get too enamored with the new shiny object. Stick to something that's really working for you. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't diversify or anything like that. But for me, it was just the business model that fit who I am and the lifestyle that I want to have.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And then I have a question here. How are you shielding yourself to pay the least amount required by law in taxes on your transactions? So are you tax planning also is probably the question I'm gonna say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a great tax consultant. By the way, when you're part of BPM REIA, they have tax consultants who are a big part of their team as well. This all goes into the whole program because there are seminars that you can attend that are sponsored by you guys that really give the kind of information that is going to be so valuable to you as a business owner on what you can do to shield taxes and just make the best out of your business opportunities. So, this is another thing that is just spectacular about being a part of the BPM REIA program. You have to have all of these pieces that support the business and the tools that you need to be successful. And it's something that's so important.
Absolutely. So we're almost out of time. I mean, again, our time goes by so quick with you, Violet. It's just so crazy. In general, what advice would you have for newbie investors or
Mhm.
people that are thinking about real estate investing? What would you tell them as, as what is the go-to move for people
Yeah.
that want to be a real estate investor?
First of all, get into a mentoring program like BPM REIA. You will you will receive returns in droves in comparison to the investment you make. Without a doubt. It's you have to get the right training to really understand the business. I mean, you can probably do it without, but you're going to be bouncing around and hitting a lot of brick walls. I would say find uh, find the money that you need to get the right training. Invest in yourself. It doesn't matter. You have to invest in yourself. And this program by far is the best that I have ever seen. And I think that you have to, number one, get the right training, which provides you with all the proper tools. You've got a community surrounding you, and that's so important as well. And, don't be discouraged. I mean, it's anything worthwhile is going to take a few side steps and detours, but at the end of the day, stick with it because you have to just keep going, and it's a game of numbers and being consistent and following through. You have to just follow through, follow through, follow through, whether it's with the people that you meet who are potential clients, whether it's just making sure that you're continuously looking at new leads. um, it's just staying consistent and following through on everything you do. So get the right training, be consistent in how you work your business, and follow through on every lead, even if there are
I
no.
think it's so. Yeah, and you know what's funny is because you're talking about training. I mean, that's the reason I'm actually out here in Southern California is to get training from Marshall Silver, and I agree with you. Like
Yeah.
I spend a ton of money investing on myself, whether
Yeah.
it's masterminds or mentors, and I already do well.
Hmm.
And I always tell everyone is I got a lot of unfinished business. So as
Yeah.
well as I do, there's a lot of things for me to learn.
Hmm.
It's important on that end of it, and also the importance of balance in your life, right?
Hmm.
So to do the things that you get to do, to see your granddaughter,
Yeah.
get to travel, and to make an
Absolutely.
impact. So those are the things that are important to me. And I live down here. Not only is she a friend, she's always so inspiring to me. So I was like, listen, we've had cocktails and hung out, and I'm like, hey, we got to share this with our team, our
Yeah.
viewers, our members, all the above, because you're always again one of the most inspiring people
Oh,
that I've ever met, and you're always so gracious too, and unbelievably um, knowledgeable, and you always share everything that goes great on, hey, I checked this out, this works. And then my favorite part is you're always transparent. Hey,
hmm.
everything doesn't work out, right? It's not a bunch of rah
That's it.
rah stuff. And
No.
so for me, I think that's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna actually have to hop off now because I am actually getting ready to go into a training session myself. I know Alexa has some announcements, and Violet,
Yes.
I want to thank you so much, and I can't wait to
Oh,
see when I get back. Also,
Thank you. Thank
oh,
you. Thank you for inviting me. It's been fun.
thank you. And thank you for bringing her on, Anish. Thank
absolutely,
you so much. She's just amazing. And thank you guys so much for all this positive
Thank
feedback
you.
in the chat. Have a
absolutely.
great day, Anish. We'll take it from here.
Bye, Nish.
Thanks,
Yep.
Anish.
Okay. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next weekend.
Guys
Bye.
later. Bye,
Bye
Nish.
bye.
Okay, guys. Wow. Like, seriously, thank you guys so much for all the positive feedback on. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. Okay, so you guys, Violet, I'm sure, if you feel like sharing your email, please feel free, or if you want to share any other ways that people can find you. I don't know if you're on Facebook or anything, but feel free to like plug in because I know these people are like big fans right now. They're not only a
Oh,
fan of like your vulnerability, but also like your success. And I have to say, like, a great word for you would be poise. Like, you're so poised and like I love your style because
oh,
that's so me too. Like, I can't be fake. Like I don't have that ability.
Mhm.
So it's like I appreciate
Yeah.
your realness so much because like I can't be fake and like I do love to listen as well and like so like I've heard from all the mentors like listening is a big part of being a successful real estate investor in this business.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yes, I did want to thank you guys so much for coming on today. I do have a winner for the 1 year membership. But I wanna make sure you guys get in touch with Violet as well. So Violet, do you want to give them your email or anything? You want to share any?
Yes, well, since I'm on a cell phone, I'll give it to you.
Oh.
It's violet@truebyproperties.com.
Yes, I have your email. I'll drop it in the chat for them real quick, you guys. So feel free to connect with Violet and follow up with her if you have any questions, because she's pretty awesome. So I highly
Oh,
recommend connecting with her. But I do have a
yeah.
winner for the 1 year membership. I will let you guys know. And I did put some upcoming events on the screen. We have another webinar tomorrow. So I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Very AI techie conversation, but should be fun. Should be fun for all of my entrepreneurs, not just real estate investors. So anyone, business owners, calling all business owners, it'll be a great class tomorrow on Zoom. And then next week, Anish has some really fun classes, you guys, some really interesting topics here. But as you guys know, we fund deals 100%. So we'll be talking about that, how we fund deals 100% and closing deals in Florida with no cash, just our funding only. So we'll show you what that looks like next week. We have some workshops. You guys will be in Aventura this month. So the Total Wine in Aventura, calling all business owners. We're gonna have another techie talk. Not super real estate focused. This will be held by Next Mill Mastermind, the $100 Meta Marketing Challenge. Create a campaign that converts. So very cool, very different stuff. We're throwing some different stuff at you guys, so hopefully you're ready for it. And then like gosh, Anish is really getting into it this month, guys. The 5 mentor questions every smart investor must ask. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So, and we'll be in Fort Lauderdale this month, in-person workshop on Saturday, July 26th from 10 to 12. So, I really look forward to meeting you guys. I will be there with Anish in the Carl DeSantis building, classroom 2067. I put the address on the website for you guys. So, go check that out on our website. I'll pop the link in the chat for the upcoming events so you guys can find us and get registered. Please RSVP so we bring enough coffee and donuts for you guys. And then some more great webinars. Please register. We have even more webinars listed on the website, all different topics. So we want to see you guys there. And then the quarterly meeting, big star, big red flashing lights, quarterly meeting. It's coming up Wednesday, August 6th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at NSU. All of my members like Violet and all of the students, you guys, you get in for free for these quarterly networking meetings. That's part of your membership benefits. So we'll see you there. And then your guests come in for $10. And then my non-members, you don't have a membership right now, you're inactive, it will be $15 early bird or $20 at the door. So we will see you guys there. I already have 15 vendors lined up for you guys. It's going to be a good time. Like Violet said, our primary contractor, Carl Sheely, he's the best. That's where she met him. So this is why it's so important to come to these events, you guys, to put a face to the name, shake their hand, start building the relationship, building that trust so that, again, like Violet, like you ever have a question, you need something, you need quick answers, they pick up the phone and they are literally there for you, like on your actual team. So super, super important. And so we'll love to see you guys there. And again, that's at Nova Southeastern University in the Carl DeSantis building in their atrium. So address and everything is on the website for you guys and go ahead and RSVP for that. Following that event, we will have a workshop with Zachary Beach, who's going to be our featured educator for the quarterly meeting as well as this workshop. He is doing a half-day workshop, and this is going to be creative financing focused, you guys. So I know a lot of you guys want to get more advanced conversations, more advanced strategies. This is going to be the place to do that. Highly recommend you get locked in for this workshop now because once it's full, like it is full. So go ahead and RSVP for both of those events, Saturday, August 9th and Wednesday, August 6th. Both going to be absolutely incredible. And it's a good place to network with people as well. So we really look forward to seeing you guys there. And I went ahead and dropped the link in the chat for you guys. So please go and get registered. And some of you guys were asking about, how to keep up with events. It's super easy. All you need to do is text BPM REIA, all one word, no spaces, to our event line here, 954-800-6961. You'll get those text message updates for all of our events. Super easy, convenient. We love it. And it's just easy to get the link to register and everything there. But our quick start training, that's going to be our boot camp. It's online, 2 full days, Saturday and Sunday, August 16th and 17th. It's coming around the corner, so a lot of you guys are locked in, such as you, Alyssa. I'm not sure what you're talking about in the chat, but it is online. It's live. It's via Zoom, cameras on, microphones on, extremely interactive. Although it is online, it's extremely interactive. We're going to talk about wholesaling, flipping, rehabbing. That's going to be just a workshop, a free workshop. Totally different event, Alyssa. Sorry if that's confusing in the title and description, but yeah, it's going to be like a preview. So like people who are interested, they can actually sign up for the quick start at that workshop, just like you did in Boca. So yes, quick start training. If you haven't done it, highly, highly recommend it because this is going to give you not only clarity, but it's also going to give you confidence. Plus, it's a money back guarantee. So it's going to be one of the safest trainings that you can take. So I highly recommend you get locked in for this one too, guys, because it only comes around 4 times per year. So you're going to want to get in now so that you get your seat reserved and you are good. You're going to start getting the training materials soon for this one. Probably in the next week or two, you'll get a PDF booklet that you keep for life. You're going to get the Zoom link from me, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Members, as you guys know, you get all the goodies, you get all the membership benefits, discounts to Home Depot, Avis, Budget, Millennial Insurance, Kama Plan, Red Perfect, all sorts of benefits for you guys. You get discounts to the Quick Start training, National REIA, like special workshops that we have throughout the month. We only have one national speaker per month, but anytime we do have that come along, you will get a discounted ticket, and you get in free for those 4 quarterly networking meetings. I highly recommend it, especially for those national REIA benefits. That's where the real savings is going to come in, and you're going to absolutely love it, as well as having access to the member directory and all sorts of good stuff. So go get your membership on our website and the memberships button. But mentoring and coaching, again, some of you guys were bringing this up in the chat, and I know Violet was bringing this up throughout the session today, but go ahead and book your discovery call on the website so we can get a chat because our program is very unique, so I'm sure you're going to have lots of questions, but we put up 100% of the money for our students' deals. We split the profit 50-50. You do get matched with your own personal mentor. We literally walk with you every step of the way. You have support classes, all that good stuff, and you don't get kicked out after the training. That's probably one of the biggest questions. People are like, what happens after the training? You don't get kicked to the curb, guys. Well, you're still going to be a part of our family. We still love you, and we're here for the ride, guys. We just want to get you to your goals, and hopefully our program is a good fit for you. And that's where the discovery call comes in. So we'll chat. We'll see if this program is good for you. I'll get you a full breakdown of everything we include in the programs that we offer. as including the pricing. We include a lot in those programs. As Violet was saying, we include the CRM, we include the Deal Finder software, we get your mentor, get tickets to the boot camp membership, like all sorts of stuff. So give you as much as we can possibly give you. So yeah, we will see you guys on the other side on August 6th. I hope that's where, all the mentors, vendors, like all of our power team, like they're the ones who show up to that. So that's a good place for you guys to meet people. But I always, always, always want to take a moment to thank the National REIA for all that they provide. It is their 40th year anniversary this year. So I'll be going to the conference up in no, well, up around the corner in New Orleans. I've never been, so I'm excited for that. And I hope to take back as much good information for you guys, more benefits, more everything, just as much as they can possibly give us as investors. Like I'm going to be there soaking it in and bringing it back to you guys so that hopefully we can continue growing our businesses and becoming successful real estate investors. But I will go ahead and drop all the links in the chat for you guys right now to get plugged in with our social media. Go and follow us on Instagram, everything. Go ahead and check out the vendor partners. Go to the vendor partners to get that free trial link for REI Black Book. You can find Carl Shealy's contact information there. All those great people that Viola mentioned, even on our power team, like they are listed there to help you, and we want to make sure they know you're there, that you're there to ask them questions, get support, like not only just work with them, but like they're there to help you guys as well. So nationalrea.org, additional education. Some of you guys that need more education, it's there. Go to nationalrea.org. They have so much for you. And then on YouTube, we actually record all of these webinars for you guys and we post them on our YouTube channel. So please, please, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this replay with somebody who needs it. This was so good. I know that this will impact more people than just those that were on today, which we had like almost 50 people on today. So a lot of amazing things and shifts, and I hope just like realizations and all these things, I hope that happened on the other side of the screen today. So thank you guys again for joining us. I oh my gosh, our raffle winner. I almost left without my raffle winner. Okay. So the winner of the membership, 1 year membership, let me make sure she's still on here, is, yep, she's still here. Our winner is Melissa I. Congratulations, Melissa. You won the 1 year membership for BPM REIA, and I will be in touch with you to redeem your membership. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Happy for you. I'll send you a welcome email and get you all plugged in. It'll come from me. I'll email all of you. Don't worry, not just Melissa. I'll just send her an extra email with a free membership, but I'll email all of you guys today. I'm going to email you from me, Alexa at bpmrea.com, just saying thank you for coming to the webinar today and just sending you guys some links and things. And if you can, please, please, please give us 5 stars on Google. I'd be so appreciative. Seriously, guys, it will make my day. So thank you guys so much. If you have a moment, please go ahead and give us the 5 stars on Google and let us know how much you loved this webinar. That would be amazing. I really, really appreciate that. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you guys here, same place, same time tomorrow, but with Next Mill Mastermind and talking about how to clone yourself with AI. Like, okay, this is weird, but it's okay. We're learning. We're gonna see what's going on with that. And I'm excited for it. So yeah, totally different than today. And that's what we love about, our community.
Yeah.
Always getting different topics, different conversations, different perspectives, and that's how we grow. So Violet, seriously, thanks so much for taking the time and hanging out with us, and so much nuggets, so many nuggets, so much knowledge, and just appreciate you. And
Well, thank you for having me. It's
yeah,
been
you
fun.
are just wow. Like I just learned so much, not only just like about you, but about business and life and just everything. Like, really appreciate the time and hope to have you on again and get you some more deals and just continue being successful.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys. I hope everyone has a great day and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.